What's up? How's it going, everybody? Triple B back with you guys. Hope you're all having a fantastic and wonderful day today. We're here in Pennsylvania, not quite sunny, starting to rain a little bit. But what I'm doing today, I wanted to introduce you guys to one of my other passions besides cards, and that is cars. This is my 92 Mustang Coupe. It was built a couple years ago as a full-blown drag race car. I have not raced the car since October of 2018. The little 8-minute video I put up a couple weeks ago was an 8th mile pass from 2018. It's actually the last day I raced the car before I broke the transmission. So we're gonna do a little series, introduce you to the car here real quick, and then I'm gonna be installing a new race transmission, as well as getting the car set up and ready to race again after 2 years of not running, driving, nothing. I'm gonna bring you all along for the venture, so stay tuned, we've got more coming. All right, here we go, guys. I'm gonna give you a quick little walk around, introduce you to the car. Like I said, it's a 92 Mustang Coupe, Foxbody, 5.0, whatever you want to refer to them as. So up front, as far as power plant, we got some rain going on. Sorry for the noise. So we have a 331 cubic inch stroker small block Ford. It's got Edelbrock Performer cylinder heads on it. It is a 331 forged and balanced rotating assembly from Scat, H-beam rods, forged pistons, forged crank. We have MSD ignition on it with one of their Pro billets, and an old school MSD 6AL box with one of their 3-step boxes. We also have upgraded radiator. It's got full UPR suspension on the car, so we have one of their mild steel K-members, set of their caster camber plates, Holley 750 double pumper carb, electric fans. It's got a catch can on it. Up front, we're just running an upgraded 5-lug conversion disc brake setup on a set of Weld drag lights, 15x4s. In the back, that is where the money is on this car. So we have a custom set of whole shot 3-piece wheels. They're 15x10s. I don't know the back spacing off the top of my head, but they are carrying 28-10.5 Hoosier slicks. I will get in and show you the magic that James at JSC did on the rear end and the rear suspension when we get the car up in the air. But just all metal, all sheet metal car except for the hood. It does have a Cervini's 2.5-inch cowl induction hood on it. And then the other cool stuff that James at JSC did was this killer 850 cert roll cage on the car. As you can see, there is the serial number plate on the roll cage, and he hooked us up good with this. We have a Kirky seat with DJ safety 5-point harnesses. We have a Grant wheel on a quick release, some gauges in the dash where the radio used to sit, shift light, but then this 850 cage is just killer. The way James and them have everything welded up in this car. I'll give you guys a little more in-depth of that going forward, but just a fantastic job that they did on this. Jump over here to the driver's side. Give you a look. We have a Florida 5.0 gauge cluster in the car, Grant removable wheel and hub. There is the gauge cluster set up from Florida 5.0. And again, we have a window net, the Kirky seat, the DJ belts, and then all the awesome roll cage work. So there is the inside of the car. I'll give you guys a better look underneath once it's up in the air. But we are going to be putting a new transmission in this, as well as getting the motor fired up for the first time in over a year, as far as I'm aware. So I'll bring you guys along on the adventure. All right, guys, so the car is now up on the lift. I don't know what to say about having some awesome friends with really cool toys to play with in their garages, but this is cool. So here you guys can see the rear differential and suspension that's in this car. James over at JSC, him and Crystal, they hooked me up good with this. So it's the original 8.8 housing that came out of this car, but it has been narrowed, fully braced. It is loaded with strange 35 spline axles, a strange spool. It's got 9-inch ends on it. The rear was narrowed, so we could fit these big wheels and tires in here without tubbing the car at all. No mini tub, no nothing. Again, it's got UPR upper and lower control arms on it, as well as the UPR spherical bushings in it. It has a UPR anti-roll bar. It's got a strange yoke on it. It's got a strange rear disc brake kit, as well as their double adjustable coil-over shocks that mount on these really awesome brackets James added to the diff, and then go and bolt up in to the factory locations up there. So as you can see, everything is quite a tight fit in here, but it works awesome, does great. Super happy with how the suspension works. Just hope I can get better at tuning on it. As we go underneath, you can see where some of the frame reinforcements James did on this for the subframe connectors and everything. They're sunk through the floor. Again, he did an amazing job on this. Just running a standard transmission cross member. I did have a TKO 600 in this, but it did not like to shift into fourth gear at like 7 grand. So we're gonna switch that out and hopefully fix that problem. We have a QuickTime scatterproof bell housing, as well as a ram clutch up inside the bell housing. Here you can see we have a Flaming River manual rack conversion on it. Again, strange coilovers, adapters on a set of drag struts. We got the UPR member, not strange, they're UPR, I'm sorry. Factory fuel lines, harmonic balancer in the bottom of the engine, so that you guys can really kind of see what's going on underneath. Again, just a factory style disc brake setup up front. Again, the car has been sitting for basically 2 years without racing, so it needs gone through, and hopefully maybe we can get the thing fired up today. We have the plugs pulled out of it. Everything looks good. The motor turns over nice and easy. We did find one issue, and that was a cracked spark plug in cylinder number 1. Other than that, all the rest of them looked good, nothing odd. So I'll bring you guys back when we get to the point of trying to fire this thing off for the first time in over a year, and we'll see how this thing sounds. I'll bring you all back then. All right, guys, so we got the car back down off the lift here. We're going through everything, getting it ready for its first startup in well over a year. The car was stored at a friend's house who had some extra room, extra parking. He was kind enough to let me keep the car there for the last year. So huge shout out and thank you to Joey for that. But this car hasn't started and ran in a year at least. So we started with pulling all the spark plugs out of it, which all 8 spark plugs looked fantastic, except for spark plug number 1. I don't know if you guys can see there, a huge crack in the porcelain right there. And then another one over here. That was the only plug that showed anything abnormal. I mean, they were dirty and sooty from it just sitting up and idling. But that plug is toast, it is cracked. So I ended up going out the Advanced Auto Parts. Actually had a bunch of these Autolite AR 3923 Autolite Racing spark plugs. They had them in stock, which were the plugs I have been running in it. Picked up a whole nother set. While we had the plugs out, we put a little bit of WD-40 in every cylinder, turned it over by hand with a socket and a ratchet, just to make sure everything was free, nothing was stuck. You know, like I said, I wasn't expecting it, but you know, the car's only been sitting for a year, didn't want to take a chance of breaking something on it. So we got all the plugs changed out, they're back in it. We have cranked the car over a couple times. We got some oil pressure buildup in it. We got fuel up to the carburetor, nothing sticking on that. So we're gonna get things set up and we get the phone on the tripod, and we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna fire this thing up, and we're gonna let y'all hear it for a little bit. And that is where we're gonna stop with this video. So give me a second here and I'll get it switched around. All right guys, so here we go. We're gonna fire this thing up for you. Hopefully the audio on my iPhone does pretty good so you guys can get an idea of what this thing sounds like. But let's go, let's crank it up and see if it'll run.
Do I stop recording?
No, let go. Give it a little bit of fuel. Now, jump pots on it. All right, so we're gonna try this one more time. I had to hook a jump box to it, didn't have enough juice. And here we go. So there you guys have it. It is up, it is running. And coming up next, we're gonna be putting a transmission in this, which is gonna be pulling the bell housing, checking the clutch, making sure everything's aligned. And we're gonna put a T5 transmission back into this thing. I know you guys are probably thinking that I'm crazy, but I will show you guys that on the next episode. And you guys will see why it is not just your ordinary T5. So as always, thank you all for tuning in and checking it out. And if you guys would, please go check out some friends of mine, JSC Racing. They're the awesome people that built this car and did the chassis work on it. They did the rear diff suspension work, the roll cage, all of that. I also had a bunch of friends that helped me along the way, a good friend that helped me put most of it together. But I will link JSC's channel down in the description. Go check them out. Give them a like and subscribe. They show some really cool, badass race car stuff over there, so check them out. And as always, if you guys are new to the channel, please like and subscribe. I'll see y'all soon. Later.